Hello there, it's Sev here from Motorhome Dealer Group and welcome to the video guide for the Whale heating and hot water system. Now this heating and hot water system is very easy to use, and this particular example will run on mains electric and gas. Now the hardware side of things, typically this will actually have a separate boiler and heater unit. However, they are both controlled via this one point. So, for example, in this particular vehicle, the heater is at one end of the motorhome and the boiler is actually at the other, but they are both controlled from this point right here. So, how do we utilize this panel? Well, it's very, very easy. We have only 4 buttons to concern ourselves with, 2 here and 2 here. Now the hot water is controlled with the tap button, which makes sense, and with each press it's going to light up different symbols over in this space here, each symbol representing a different energy source that the hot water system can use to power itself. Now there is no temperature selection with the hot water system. And the heating is essentially the same. We press this button here, and with each press it will cycle its different energy sources that can be used to power it. But there is also the addition of these 2 buttons here, which will raise and lower your target temperature, or thermostat if you will. So let's show you the hot water in action now. Before I do press the button though, there is something I want to explain that can catch some people out. Is that initially we're starting from this position here labelled off, which of course does mean that the hot water is off. And we will press this button and symbols will begin to light up. However, it doesn't start from the first symbol and go through to the end and round robin again back to the beginning. What it will do is kind of start from halfway along the possible options. So if you want one of the earlier options, you do need to cycle to the end to round robin, and you'll see that now. So the first press here will bring the panel a little bit back to life. It was on a sort of standby with slightly dimmer lighting for night time. So the first button press has now brightened the panel up, which means it's kind of out of its standby mode. And if I press the button again, there it goes out of standby. We have the first option here, which is a picture of a flame. This is gas, so it's going to use gas to power the hot water, and it will then over the course of the next few minutes do its ignition sequence, fire up the gas and start working. If I press again, we have gas, but with a wiggly line underneath it. Okay, that wiggly line means electrical power, and the more wiggly lines we have, the more powerful the electric source will be. Now, as you can see, I've left it long enough for it with the gas option selected, and we have indeed fired up now on gas, as you can see there. So everything's all good. If I press once more, we have gas, but with 2 wiggly lines. So we basically have gas with low power and gas with high power electric. That's what those 2 options are. The next press, we go back to off. So a lot of people would assume that, again, if I press, we're going to go back to gas, then gas with low and gas with high power electric. But that's not the case. The next stage is going to take us to this, which is the snowflake, which is essentially like a frost protection mode. We can put it in this mode and it's going to keep a tiny little bit of heat in the system to try and prevent any freezing. The next position is electric only, and it's a single wiggly line, so this is low power electric. Then we have medium power electric, if you will, with the 2 wiggly lines, and then we're back to gas. So you can see what I mean. We initially went from off to here, but then we've gone to the beginning and then gone through some options here. So it's a bit strange the way it does that. So just to recap, we have gas only on its own, gas with low power electric, gas with medium power electric, back to off, snowflake, which is the frost protection mode, then low power electric only, and medium power electric only. Okay, so those are your options for hot water. Now let's show the options for heating. So again, we're going to press, and the first option we have is gas only. We then have gas and medium power electric, and then we're back to off. Then we have the first position here being low power electric only, medium power electric only, high power electric only, so there's 3 wiggly lines now, and then we're back to gas. So those are your options there. Now, when setting the temperature here, we press the plus or minus buttons and it moves the orange indicator up or down the scale of increasingly larger white segments. You can see, though, there are two symbols here. The first one is the picture of a crescent moon. This is to sort of indicate a night mode, which, if it's maybe a summer's night where things are probably warm but could do with just a little touch of heat, or maybe autumnal, then just to stop the van getting a little bit too cold when the sun's not out, then you can use that setting there. And the lowest setting is the frost protection, so it's the snowflake once more, and again this will just keep a little bit of heat in the unit and sort of help protect against cold or very cold weather. Now, just to clarify, of course, the frost protection modes on here do not make the motorhome capable of going to visit Santa in Lapland or skiing in the Alps or anything like that, but it does help in mild frosts to keep those two systems nice and safe, because they are sort of sat underneath the floor of the vehicle 9 times out of 10 in most installations. So that's it for this Whale heating and hot water system video guide. I'm Sev, and thank you very much for watching.